People are going to see our secrets.
I push start streaming. We on? We live?
Yeah.
Wake up, everybody! Time for an episode of Vape AM. As you can tell, we're doing this a little on the fly today. I got some amazing information last night that I felt like it was really necessary for us to share. So Drew's going to sit beside me here and watch the stream so we can get your comments and things like that. I'm so sorry for the late start. We found out this morning that if you have less than 1,000 subscribers, that you cannot do a show off of a like a Wi-Fi type device. So
Mobile.
Or mobile device. Sorry about that. So sorry for the late start this morning, guys, but we wanted to come to you. I got some information late last night from one of my guys. I've got great employees here. They always send me really good information. So we're going to start off with that this morning. Normally we do like a, history and birthdays and stuff like that. Obviously, you can tell behind me, this is, this is the dirty right here. I mean, we're just coming to you live, like, raw dog in its style this morning. But this is what brought us to this morning. So this was something that actually came to me last night. This actually came from James Jarvis. Now, if you don't know who James Jarvis is, he is the head of the Ohio Vaping Trade Association. And I'm going to read this and kind of get you guys started on what we're talking about today. So it says, James Jarvis is feeling disappointed. I have never been this disappointed with a decision from the members of the Ohio State House. The breaking news is basically that the Ohio Senate has released their version of the budget bill, which, and not only did they retain the tobacco 21, they expanded the tobacco definition, but they have also included a proposed 17% wholesale tax on vapor products and a $1,000 tobacco license per store. We are working with our partners to get calls to action updated and reissue, and we will have posts on our social media accounts to share. This is all very new, and we are just digesting. I've literally known for less than an hour. Testimony will be taken on Thursday, Friday, and next Monday. James, which is the gentleman that released this, will be testifying, but we are still working out the details. Please stay tuned, and I would encourage you all to call your senator's office today and politely tell them to remove the tax. All right, guys, this is something that's happening right here in our hometown. And I've got other stuff to read this morning, but we're going to kind of go through this as we go. And I want you guys to make comments and ask questions on the chat because I want to get this information out. Like I said, normally we do a lot better production type show, but I really felt like today it was necessary for us to bring this to you guys right away. So here's the situation. So what they've basically done is almost the opposite of what Michigan just did. They actually just are lumping us in with all the rest of the tobacco products. Now, those of you that have watched the show in the past know that our biggest goal here at Vape AM is to get people to stop smoking or they're going to die. We are not combustible tobacco. There are no tobacco in this whatsoever. I don't care if the label says it's Trubecca tobacco. There's not tobacco actually in this product. That is just a flavoring like everything else. It's kind of like saying that my Diet Mountain Dew, because it has caffeine in it, is coffee. Okay, these are completely two different things. Also, e-cigarettes and vaping is a stop smoking tool. This is what it's used for, and it is the most, the one that works the best. Out of everything else that's out there, vaping works 2 to 3 times better than everything else that's actually out on the market right now. So we know that this stuff works, and this just looks like a huge ploy to try and get more money from us. But the worst part about it is that it's going to increase your cost at the retail outlets to purchase this kind of stuff. So any stores that are actually in Ohio will now be paying this 17% wholesale tax, which in turn makes it about a 34% tax to the end user, because as most of us know, you do have to, pass that on, unfortunately, on to the consumer, and that's where this kind of gets out of control. So your, $20 bottle of e-liquid is now going to cost you more like $27. And yeah, that doesn't sound like a ton, but when you start adding up all the bottles of e-liquid that you buy and all the mods and the pods and the coils and all that, I mean, you're talking about some major money that's going to be involved with this. I was against tobacco 21, and the worst part about this is this Senate session ends on the 30th of this month. So they're just sliding this in right before the bill where the budget absolutely has to be signed. And DeWine will probably just sign this thing realistically if it's got these things on there. I don't know why this is part of the budget bill. The other thing is, you are going to have a really hard time finding this information online. Last night after I got this, I just went everywhere I could think of to try and find some more information about this, and it does not exist. Like, what the information they were able to get at the Ohio Vape Trade Association, they must have gotten this directly from the horse's mouth, or they must have just been sitting in on a session when somebody heard this and passed this information on. The problem with this is everything's going to move really quick so that you don't have time to stand up for this. So we are going to provide you with some phone numbers to the Ohio senators so you guys can make some calls. I would really strongly encourage you to call DeWine, make your voice be heard about this situation, because it is, by all intents and purposes, the absolute wrong thing to do. I am normally a very calm guy when you guys see me on these shows. We tape a lot of these right maybe an hour before we actually put them out so we can give you some production value on this stuff. But today, I couldn't do it. I said, we have got to do something today and just get this information out. As you can see behind me, this is just our offices. Everything looks kind of a mess behind me. It's because, we work hard here. Those are things that, we unfortunately don't have time always to make everything look pretty, because that's what we do here, is we actually work hard for you. So that was just one of the things I wanted to talk about today. So we're going to go on to some other things with this, and we're going to kind of keep rolling with this throughout as long as I'm on here. I don't know exactly how long this is going to run, because it's going to depend on you guys. Send me some chat here. Let me know what you guys are thinking.
Luminous Croy said morning.
All right.
And,
morning, Luminous Croy.
Kim said this is a bunch of crap.
Yeah, it is a bunch of crap. Kim is one of our managers at one of our locations, and you're right. This is absolutely a bunch of crap. I don't see that this tax is going to go into anything else other than e-liquid. And this $1,000 per store to get a license, I assume this is going to be like an every year thing. There are a lot of vape shops, including some of our stores, that don't even do $1,000 in a day. And that's in total sales. That's not profit. I mean, when it comes down to it, by the end of the month, some of these stores that are doing this right now won't be able to afford this $1,000 licensing they want us to do. This is a stop smoking tool. We try and keep the cost as low as we possibly can because we want people to stop smoking. And all this is going to do is, it's going to force us to raise prices with this. Now, along those lines, I've talked to our corporate people here, and we have basically made a decision that through the end of the year, we will not be raising prices. Okay, we absolutely hate this. If we have to take the hit on this, we're going to take the hit on this, like I said, at least until the end of the year. All right, and I'm going to mention this a few times probably throughout the video, but I talked with the owner yesterday, and we decided that we wanted to even put a coupon code out there for the website. So if you are not local to us, you can't get to one of our locations, vapors1.com. So it's VAPORS and the number 1.com. If you go to the site and shop there, if you use the coupon code VAPEAM15, VAPEAM15, all together, no spaces, you're going to get 15% off of anything you purchase on the website until I say otherwise. I don't know how long we're going to run this, but I am so upset about this particular situation that I was like, screw you guys, we're going to give you even more of a discount. So I know it takes a little time for these things to actually, once they're signed into law, to go into effect. So until that time, you guys really need to stock up, because after that time, all of these local smaller shops that you're used to dealing with are going to have no choice but to raise their prices. Now, a lot of times people don't want to deal with these situations until they're in their front yard, because they're like, well, that's happening in Vermont or Montana or wherever else it's actually going on. This is happening right in your backyard right now. I could have swallowed the Tobacco 21 thing. I don't like it. I think it's absolutely wrong. But this addition's added into this in a bill where we don't even get a chance to put this on a ballot and actually vote about it. This is driving me crazy. And I just felt like it was necessary to come to you guys live. I may even come to you guys live for the next couple of days. We'll make that decision a little bit later today. But I wanted to make sure that I got this out to you guys today. I had another show planned for today, something totally different from another state, other news to do. But I felt like, hey, this is in our hometown. This is right in my backyard. It's something that we got to talk about. All right. I'm going to find a couple other things on here that I searched out last night just so you guys have this information. One of the things that really bothers me that's going on is, like I've said in the past on other episodes, Big Tobacco is notorious for going back into old laws to find ways that they can get their way. I finally found out last night why Big Tobacco is promoting Mitch McConnell and this Tobacco 21 thing at a national level. It just seems strange where all of the anti-smoking and anti-vaping people were against the Tobacco 21 thing that McConnell wants to put out, and then all the Big Tobacco people were really for it. So what I found out about that last night was, I did some reading, and what it says is there's an amendment back in 1992 called the Sninar Amendment. And basically what it is, and I may be pronouncing that wrong, so don't hold me to that, But the amendment basically says that before that time, states were not required to have an 18 and older law into place. Basically, they just dealt with the federal thing, but the federal government said, okay, from now on, you guys have to have states restrictions for minors being able to use tobacco products. And this is way before any vape stuff was actually really on the market, if at all. So what this does is when this Tobacco 21 goes to, in effect, federally, it's going to require each state to amend their tobacco laws. It's going to require them to look at this, 18 to 21. When they make that move and make it into a state law, it's going to allow them to make other adjustments and other amendments to that law when they put it into place, which could include and probably will flavor bans. Now, when this happens, there's no vape shop that could survive without flavors. Okay, that's just the bottom line. We sell a lot of tobacco flavor, don't get me wrong. But I still don't think it's enough that I could keep all of the stores open and all the website going and all the people employed here. So that's why this is such a big deal about this new Tobacco 21 law. Drew, you got something on chat. You were looking at me, so I just want to make sure you didn't have something to talk about. All right, so that's just one of those other things. Now, this, like I said, this law is from 1992, okay? And just to give you an idea of how long ago this is, 91 is when I graduated from high school, okay? So this has been some serious time ago, and that's why they do these kinds of things. They find these old laws that they know they can manipulate. And the biggest thing that really got under my skin about this is I understand when you're contributing to political parties. I understand when you're contributing to, political figures, people that you trust and believe in. You want to give them money so that they can spur on and do the work that you want them to do. And by all means, I want contributions to continue, especially for people who are doing the right things for America. But right now, what's happening is, and if you can go right to Altera's website, you can look at their contributions page, and they do it state by state so you can see. They are actually contributing to both parties pretty much equally. And the reason why this is such a concern for me is because they're basically just paying to have influence. And the money that's going out for this is massive. And we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're paying to these parties, different PACs and different individuals. And God only knows what's going on underneath the table, which I'm sure is not happening because that would be illegal and they always follow all the laws. Because we know Big Tobacco is definitely one of those people that really, wants to make sure that everything is 100% on board.
Trump steak dinner.
Yeah, that was one of the other things. They paid $500,000 just to have dinner with Trump. You don't think that has any influence? I mean, if somebody gave me $500,000, I would probably listen to what they had to say. If not, I would still probably get some influence from that area. I mean, if I'm going to accept that kind of money, and that's the thing that really irritates me. How can you pass laws and put in legislation when you're accepting money from one side? I didn't see anything on there where Altera was giving money to the vape industry, even though they own 35% of Juul. They're not fighting for that. They're just fighting for things like this Tobacco 21. And when you, like I said, when you see Big Pharma and Big Tobacco on the same side of something, and the anti-smoking people saying, no, we don't want this Tobacco 21 law because it's going to cause, more issues than what we're looking for. And then you've got all the vape people saying, no, we don't want this Tobacco 21 law because this could actually open the doors for them to ban flavors and all kinds of other things that they can do. And once one of these laws gets passed, it takes a long time for those things to get ratified. And, a lot of vape shops are just barely scraping by, especially with all the competition that's out there and how the prices in this market have dropped so drastically. They've got to keep people on staff. They've got to keep their doors open. And I think at this point, it is pushing them to the limit of what that's going to be able to accomplish. And it scares me. It really does. And if you aren't paying attention to these things as they come out, and you are a vapor or you are a smoker and you're thinking about getting into vaping, these are things you need to know about. I really want to see you guys just burn up these phone lines today. Today is Wednesday, and they start testimony tomorrow. And it's the first time I've even seen this. And you guys know, I do a ton of research. I spend a lot of my off time watching videos and reading bills and doing all those things. And yeah, do I get everything 100% right? No, of course not. No one is ever going to get everything 100% right because there's so many ways you can look at these bills and you can look at these things and you can, decide, well, this is what they're saying or this is what they're saying. And so there's a lot of those kind of debates going on. But when you're going to see a law go into place, it's just standard, like 17% across the board. And that means that money I'm having to pay. Like other states won't have to pay this for their wholesale. This is something that I have to pay that's going to go right to Ohio. Now, if you look up the Ohio budget, just do a quick Google search on it. you're going to get all of these things that talk about how it's better for us because they're actually lowering income taxes for the poor, and all of these things. So all the people that don't know what the little things are in there are going to say, "Wow, this sounds great! Like they're going to lower my income tax. They're going to make it. I'm going to bring in more honey home and all those kinds of things." What you don't know is they're just hitting you on the backside. They're basically throwing the tax into a different area so that they can actually make more money out of this deal. And a lot of times they put these things out and it's like, well, we're going to give money to schools and education, all that. Don't believe that. That does not happen. All these states that have made this big thing about how, their tobacco taxes are going to schools, if you actually look at the real dollars and the real percentages, very, very little of that is actually going to that. Even talking about the MSA, where Big Tobacco is giving money directly to states, which that ends here in 2022. Now, why that date is specific and why that year is so important is because, I don't know if you guys remember, they just recently moved up the deadline for the PMTAs to 2021. Okay, these states that are receiving this MSA money have sold bonds, and they have to actually pay that money back. And because of the lower amounts of money that they're getting from Big Tobacco for their MSAs, they have no way to pay this money back. Their only hope is to either overtax vape products because they see that rising at an exponential rate, or they have to get rid of vaping and get all these vapors back onto tobacco products so that they sell more packs so they get more money from Big Tobacco with their MSA so they can pay these bonds off. That's why you're seeing this craziness in California. I mean, when was the last time you saw California actually fight against something that was healthy, or something that they felt like was a way to, move the country along in a better situation? You just never see that. It's not something that is normal. And that's why this is so weird when it started coming out of California. Everybody was like, what the hell is going on here? Now, I'm going to preface this by saying if I cuss during this, I know it's not my normal thing, but I'm feeling a little Alex Jonesy today, and this is the live stream, so God only knows what's going to happen here.
Shit.
Exactly. Because this is total bullshit. What they are trying to pull here is basically, let's slide this under the rug right before this has to be voted on. I mean, today's what, the 12th, 11th, 12th, something like that?
12th,
today's the 12th, so we got 18 days before this actually has to be voted on. So I'm going to go into here. I had other things that I pulled up in here, and I just want to make sure that I don't miss some of the information that I had for today. Like I said, we started a little bit late because we found out we couldn't do this on a mobile device. I don't know when that started because I know there are a lot of other smaller vape shows that do things from mobile devices. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I've seen guys sitting in their cars doing reviews. I don't know if this is something that happened overnight. I don't know if this is something just because we don't have 1,000 subscribers, but I don't think they do either.
What was it? It was like a couple months ago we did Midwest.
Yeah, we just did Midwest Expo at the end of March? Yeah, the end of March. We did it live from exactly the same iPad that we were getting ready to use downstairs. And it said, no, can't do that.
Ineligibility is what it said.
So, they're cracking down on social media because they don't want the truth to get out there about this. And then they're forcing in these taxes. It feels like we're getting hit from every side of this. And I don't understand why. Why can they not believe the science that's out there? Why is it that because it's from overseas that it's not credible? I really just don't get that. And if it was one or two studies by some crackpot doctor, believe me, I would understand. We're talking the Royal College of Physicians. We're talking about the New England Journal of Medicine. We're talking about, study after study after study. Even in England, they're actually allowing prisoners to vape because they've removed cigarettes, but they know this is a healthier alternative for the prisoners, and it's a booming success. This is something that is helping people all over the world, except in the United States, we're demonizing this because money, and we're allowing corporations to run our government and not what's best. And when here's the weird part about it is, if with this Sninar thing, and I know I'm jumping all over the place today, and I'm sorry, but it's just what's going on. What is it?
I was going to say, what's funny? I just made a connection too. How everybody always says, "Oh, healthcare, we have the worst healthcare in this whole country."
Yeah,
it's always better overseas, but then so the healthcare is fine, but their actual studies about vaping.
Yes.
Oh, we can't believe that. That's not credible.
And that actually moves me into this topic that I wanted to talk about with the Sninar amendment. If states decide not to come up with their own new law as far as the Tobacco 21 thing, they lose funding from the government. and it's health funding from the government. So they don't get grants, they don't get different monies with this. And like I said, guys, do some research about this. I'm going to throw some links down in this as soon as we get done with this live version of this so you can have that information. But I'm not making this stuff up. I am trying to read directly from that. Yes, I know that I may get a few things wrong. That's why I'm telling you, do your own research about this. But if they don't ratify this to the Tobacco 21, and then God only knows, what money that some of these places could put into effect, they're going to lose money, and states cannot lose money. Their budgets are stretched as thin as they can possibly be in most situations, so they're going to have to buckle under this and be a part of this thing. And what you're seeing is big tobacco and these big corporations being able to throw some dollars around and run our country. And that's what drives me insane. This is a healthier alternative, all right? A lot of people are saying, well, they haven't been around long enough for us to know what's going on or to do some studies, okay? I'm tired of waiting around for people to do some studies. There are studies all over the place. There are 10-year studies that show that this is a healthier alternative to smoking. You don't want to believe those studies. I mean, how long have cell phones been like a permanent fixture of our lives? For 20 years? Have they been around long enough for us to know that the long-term effects of those? I guess so, because everybody's using them. You're giving them to your 3-year-old kid to play Candy Crush on or whatever. What if we found out later on that those cause problems? Now, I don't really believe that's going to be the case. The other thing is, too, when you look at cigarettes versus vape products, look at the chemicals alone. That's what a lot of these doctors are just saying. It's like, listen, we don't have to do a lot of research. We can see the difference between the chemicals between these two. It is a harm reduction product. Okay, that is the bottom line we've said from all of this. This is a harm reduction product. And the reason why this is going to hurt so bad, it's going to hurt people, I don't want to say poor, but people that aren't upper class. And because the studies show that more people that are in that middle income to lower income are the ones that smoke more. And you know why? Because our life is more stressful. All right, we don't make as much money. We got to make those nickels stretch into dollars. And people that don't have to do that typically have other things that they can get rid of their stress with, or maybe they just don't have as much stress. But those of us that are driving around in a 2002 Subaru, probably don't have the money to be able to do some of these other things like the IQOS that's going to be extremely expensive. I just read a thing about that that says that each one of those sticks is only supposed to last for like 6 minutes. So basically every time, if my liquid only lasted me 6 minutes in my vape, that would be insane. Yes, of course that's going to be expensive. It's also taxed like tobacco, so all that money goes right back to big tobacco. So here's something else that I just recently saw on there too. If you're not familiar with it, those guys that chew, like that actually use chewing tobacco, well, there is a new cessation tool for that called ON, O-N exclamation point, all right? Believe it or not, Altria, Philip Morris, whatever you want to call them, just bought 80% of that company, or they're in the midst of getting it done right now. All right, 80% basically means you own it. I'm guessing the 20% was whoever started the company just wanted to make sure that they had stock so they could take care of their kids. All right, why are they doing this? Why are they buying this? Because they know that they've got to cover all their bases just in case that they can't sell cigarettes, they're going to have to do something else. But the other side of this is, because this is not a vape product, it's actually considered a cessation tool that it just allows them to make more and more and more money. Now let's say all the flavors go away and the only thing you have available to you are something that comes from a big company like a Juul. Now, and I'm not gonna demonize Juul here, but here's the situation. If Juul is the only thing that's available as far as vaping, they can cut that down to just the tobacco flavors. So then you have Philip Morris either providing you with Marlboros, the Juul, the IQOS, or this new ON. But they're all coming from the same company. They just want all of your dollars. And what they're doing to do this is they're just giving money to the right people. I just couldn't believe they were giving money to Democrats and Republicans almost at the same rate. Like, we don't care who gets into office. We got influence with all of them. All right, that's craziness. It drives me absolutely nuts that big corporations are just allowed to just do this, where small companies, and every time you talk to a politician, they're always like, small business is the backbone of our economy. Well, this is going to kill all of these small businesses, all right? And one thing I just heard this morning, because I like to listen to Pandora and I don't pay for the ad-free thing because, I'm broke. That's basically why. There was a Juul commercial on Pandora this morning, and lo and behold, they're like, hey, I made the switch by using a Juul, and they always say, and this person quit back in 2015 to prove that those products were actually there during that time. And then they said, and we can ship this directly to your home from the internet for all of our flavors and everything. That's exactly. it's like the timing of this crap just makes me want to vomit. So, if you are not a wholesaler and you're buying stuff online and having it shipped to Ohio, you're not going to get that 17% tax. It's only hurting the vape shops. And those of you out there that think that we make millions of dollars a year, that just ain't true. And anybody that wants to come and see my W-2 form, by all means, I will show it to you. But honestly, I would make more money being a greeter at Walmart than I would being the HR manager at this company. And that's not saying anything negative about vapors. We do this because we know that we're on a mission. I feel better about this job than any other job I've had in my life because I feel like I'm helping people. That first time when you're a part-timer at a vape store and somebody comes in and they're a smoker and they don't know what's going on, they walk through the door kind of timidly, they're kind of overwhelmed by all the things, and you sit down with them and you show them what vaping is about and how easy it is and how less expensive it is and what they've been doing, and they come back in like 2 weeks and they're just like, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time with me. I feel better. My house doesn't stink. I can breathe. I don't wake up hacking and coughing every morning. I have breath now that I never had before. I never knew how bad my life was when I was on cigarettes. That's what keeps me doing this, okay? That the money does not keep me doing this. And I've had some people make comments on there like, you guys are just a shop and you want to make money and all that. If you really knew what was going on with a lot of these shops, you would shut your mouth, because you're probably making more money at your factory job making widgets than we are making what we do here. Okay, and I would almost guarantee that that's the case. We spend a lot of time on this. I buy $30 mics off of Amazon. I buy $10 mics off of Wish just so that we have this stuff. I mean, this whole setup that you see behind me was probably a couple $100. We are not spending tons of money. We put in the work. We put in the labor hours to make this thing work. We travel to stores. We talk to people. We're trying to get this out because we know it's a safer, healthier alternative. And when we see our state's officials basically just thumbing their nose at us and saying, hey, we don't care about that. All we care about is the money, and it would be better for everybody if you just switch back to cigarettes, because then all of this controversy would go away. I have never seen anything in my lifetime that was that was a harm reduction product that has gotten this much backlash. I mean, could you imagine if the nicotine gums and the lozenges and stuff had to jump through all of these same hoops that vaping is having to jump through? And you know what you're seeing with that new on thing? It looks like one of those old Bandits that those I think it was Skull that made those, but the Skull Bandit thing, those little pouches that you put in there, they're flavored. Okay, you got Juul products those are flavored. You just had Nicorette come out with new lozenges that are flavored. And even in the press release they gave, it's like, well, flavors really do help people to stop smoking. Well, no shit, okay? We've known this for so long that's absolutely the truth. And what they did was they just got on the bandwagon. You think the taste of Rel nicotine by itself is good? Of course it isn't. That's why people even liked flavored cigarettes when that thing was available. I smoked flavored cigars for years. I was not a big cigarette smoker. I did, teenage years and, into my early 20s. But after that, I just basically went on to flavored cigars because that was the thing that I liked. Go ahead, man.
Brandon said, morning. Comment. It's
morning, Brandon.
It's not about the people, it's about the cash flow and who you have in your back pocket.
Yeah, that's very true. He said basically that it's not about the people, it's about the cash flow and who you've got in your back pocket. And that is absolutely true. This influence they have on these politicians is unbelievable. I've never seen anything that was even close to this. When diet sodas really came on the market, okay, I don't really want to call that a harm reduction, but it kind of is. Like, people were taking in so much sugar from soft drinks, and there was so much uprisal about this. They said, hey, you know what, we're going to offer you a different option of something that, it's less calories and all that. Could you imagine that if that had to be flavorless? You can't flavor any diet soft drinks because that might encourage kids to want to drink diet soft. I mean, that's how silly this is. I mean, you're talking about the same amount of side effects, the same amount, probably more side effects from diet soft drinks than the other. And I'm not an expert on diet soft drinks. I'm just trying to make a point. My Diet Dew is not coffee because it has caffeine in it. And vape products are not tobacco. Okay, they just are not tobacco. All right, it's just ludicrous to think that that's the case. It's like saying an eggplant is tobacco because it has nicotine in it. And those of you that don't know, eggplants are about the second highest under tobacco for nicotine in the actual plant itself. Oh, I thought you had something else for me.
No.
Guys, we don't do these live shows every day, so I know this is going to be a little goofy, but I just felt like it was necessary to get this out there. I don't like screaming. I don't like yelling, but at this point, I don't know what else to do. I can't do any more to get this information out to let you guys know that this stuff is going on all across the country. And if you don't get involved with stuff like this, it's just going to go away. If you think the government has got this plan in mind, how they're going to fix all these things, I really don't think that's the case. The government's main goal is to get money out to the states so they can do those things that they need to do. And if you think like all of these things that say, 15% of this is going to go to, awareness, it's going to teach teenagers about the dangers of smoking and all that, that's not true either. I would say less than 5% of that 15% actually goes to that. Most of it goes to other needs, because I got this information the other day. Basically, when money goes into a state budget, it moves around. It's kind of like somebody had said. It's kind of like if you go and go, I'm just going to pee in this corner of the pool. Okay, that's not how it works. Like, that's just going to spread everywhere, and that's kind of what happens to money that comes in. So they have to have that money coming in, and if that means that they have to make this restriction that's going to hurt some of their constituents, but they see it as a greater good because they need this money, they're going to continue down that road with that. All right, I'm going to pull up a couple things here. It's going to take me just a second, so just bear with me. I got to jump into my photos here real quick because I did some screenshots last night just so I wouldn't miss some of the things that I wanted to talk about with you guys today. So if you are interested, let me tell you who the senators are first. I think I've got that listed here. No, of course not.
Wouldn't it be great if just if just vaping went away, that everybody who vaped just didn't just stopped cold turkey?
Yeah.
So the money still wasn't coming in.
Yeah, that would be great. I
But
mean,
that
and I don't know what they expect out of us. Do they expect us to go back to cigarettes, or do they just think, you can just set that down? I mean, you're just doing that for fun anyway. I mean, it's really not something that you need every day. If quitting cold turkey was that easy, I think a lot of people probably would do that. And the reason why vaping is so popular and works so well is because of the hand-to-mouth thing. I mean, what you're going to see is either smokers go back to smoking, or you're going to see them start eating, and they're going to be my size. All this body built by the FDA, they're all going to be my size. Then you got, exactly. You got tons more health problems from doing something like that. There's diabetes. Luckily, I don't have that. But yeah, you get the sugars, as some of the people say. But that's just, it's just adding more problems to this that is going to uprise in health costs, which in turn gives more money to Big Pharma, and they know this. That's why tobacco and Big Pharma are so together on this. Like, Tobacco Free Kids is sponsored by Big Pharma, and the Truth Campaign is sponsored by Big Tobacco. Why would they do those kinds of things if they didn't think they could get their propaganda out there to tell people the craziness? Here in the near future, we're going to do a show. There was this girl on YouTube that actually did a video, and she gave me a chart that I don't think she should have, because it actually listed tobacco right next to e-liquids and the amounts of chemicals that are in each one. And she was basically saying, these are just the same thing. They all have these chemicals in them. The minute amounts that they found, they had a hard time even finding a measuring tool for how small these were. And in some instances, it said it should have this, but we couldn't detect any, so we're going to say it should be this amount.
That's for the e-liquid.
Yeah, for the e-liquid, right. But when it came to cigarettes, they had the numbers for those, and they were just over the top. Now, she thought she was doing something good by saying, yeah, these are both really bad for you. But what she actually did was she gave me some ammo to say, nope, not even close. Like, not even close to the same amount of danger. Now, I know, Vaping Minuteman will probably watch today. Juicing with Jen will probably watch today. I hope Texas Cloud Town, I hope you watch today. I actually sent this information off to Angela Garrity from the That's What She Said show. I'm hoping they'll talk about this on Thursday as well, because, they've talked about other state things, and unfortunately, this is just really close to my heart because it's right here in my hometown, and it's going to cause us some issues. It's going to cause people to buy more things online, out of state, which means you're taking away from these local businesses. And things like this really cause major issues. Even things like this will cause people to move because they're like, I'm not spending that on that. I'm going to move. My job is fluid. I don't have to be, in a certain place to be able to do this. And they're going to move to states that have lesser restrictions on things like that. So anyway, I want to talk about a couple of things here real quick. So the senators for Ohio, their names are SHERROD Brown and Rob Portman. So SHERROD, SHERROD Brown and Rob Portman. Those are the two senators, okay? And I actually have their phone numbers here for you guys so you can get those as well. I just got to scroll over to get to those. So phone numbers, there are quite a few. So there's a DC number. That's 202-224-2315. And then there are actually Ohio numbers. So there's a toll-free number that you can call. It's 1-888-896-OHIO, which is 6446. So 1-888-896-OHIO if you want to give them a call. Now, if you go, you can find these numbers pretty easily, but we will put these on the comments down at the bottom, the links at the bottom once we get done with this. But I wanted to kind of get that stuff out to you as soon as possible. Guys, we need to call and just jam their lines. And let's, like I always say, let's not be mad and yelling and stuff like that. Let's just calmly make an argument. Those of you that would like to testify, that live near the area that you can, I would definitely encourage you to do that. I think our owner is actually going to try and testify as well. I know James from the Ohio Vape Trade Association, he is scheduled to testify. I think the biggest thing is these people need to see that vaping is actually helping people. I think that if we're just a blind set of numbers, that this is one of those things where they can easily just put blinders on and know that that is not a real person. And when you put a face onto an argument like this, I think that's where it kind of pushes that home and really lets people know that this is not something for kids. You know, we don't want underage people using this product, but there are so many people that are over the age that should be allowed to use this product. If you're allowed to sign up for the military, if you're allowed to sign a home mortgage, if you're allowed to bury yourself in credit card debt, if you're allowed to sign up for loans for school, all of those things, if you're allowed to do any of that stuff, you should be allowed to make a decision about whether vaping is the right alternative for you. We talked about yesterday about Michigan and the new laws that they passed out there. They've actually separated tobacco and e-cigarette products. And I think that that's really the way that things should go, because we are not tobacco. We are a harm reduction product, and we are designed around getting people to stop smoking. Like I say every day, stop smoking or you're gonna die. 480,000 people die every year from smoke-related issues just in the United States. 6 million worldwide, okay? Stopping smoking and getting rid of combustible tobacco is by far the easiest and #1 way to reduce deaths across the United States, okay? More people die from peanut allergies than have had any kind of issues with e-liquid, okay? That should really bring to your mind how not dangerous these products are. I was telling Drew, I was driving the other day home, and I saw one of those big, lighted billboards on the highway that was telling me about teen deaths. There was over 9,400 teen deaths in Ohio from driving. Okay, driving is the #1 cause of death among teenagers. It's not smoking. It's not drinking. It's not all of those other things. Not to say that drinking and drug abuse is not a huge problem here, but teen driving is the #1 cause of death, and we've seen nothing in that area to get rid of that. In fact, a lot of times we see the age to drive actually go down and we see it actually go up. If you're looking at trying to save our young people and thinking that tobacco 21 is the way that you're saving lives, I'm not saying to do this, I'm just making this a point. Then let's raise the driving age to 21. See how much of effect that has on our economy. Okay? You have to be realistic about the laws. We have to look at the whole picture and see what's best for the health and prosperity of our state. Small businesses are the backbone of America. I've heard every politician, so funny, I was watching this other show called Last Week Tonight, and they actually did a whole episode about smaller businesses. And the amount of politicians that said this, they were able to fill the entire screen with little tiny blocks of each one, and they almost were in unison saying that small businesses are the backbone of the United States and our economy. And this is a particular situation where they're raising the taxes and causing us to have to pay for licensing that could close many of these small businesses. We are already running at a very minimal profit margin as it is, and this is just going to envelop that. So, like I said, get over to the website. If you like what I do, if you want to support this, if you want to help us to continue with what we're doing and getting the word out, Vape AM15, all together, one word. I don't think it's case sensitive, but we did use lowercase on it, so if it doesn't work with uppercase, try lowercase. Vape AM15. Stock up. Do this now before this really takes effect. Like I said, we're going to keep our prices the same. We may not be able to run as many sales as we normally do, but our actual retail prices are not going to increase at least through the end of this year. All right, we're going to make that our goal, and we're going to try and continue on with that, but it all depends on what shakes out here. They may increase this from 17% to 50%. God only knows. I mean, this got snuck in, and I'm telling you, you cannot Google search this and find it. You cannot do that. It doesn't exist out there. This is a stream that he puts out. I think it might have been Facebook. I'm not a Facebook guy, as most of you know. I got sent to this by one of the other managers that works here. Or I wouldn't have even have seen it. And as soon as I got it, I just spread it out as fast and wide as I possibly could. And everybody that I sent it to, and obviously a lot of us are vapors, were like, "What the hell is going on here?" If it's designed around trying to, eliminate some of the income tax and things like that, and that's how we're probably going to sell this thing, you don't understand that the business taxes and the income taxes you're getting from those businesses will just vanish because they just don't exist anymore. And what's going to happen is we're going to be like San Francisco, and everybody's going to go back to smoking cigarettes, and that's just horrible for everything. It's going to raise, all of these costs for healthcare. It's going to make people sick. It's going to do all of the things it did before, but if they don't have easy access to this stuff, and we know, I'm a smoker, and a lot of times I'm lazy about that particular situation. That's why I don't build drippers, because I just want a tank. I just want to be able to use this product, and I would say probably 70%, and that's just a guess, but I'm saying probably 70% of people are probably in the same boat I am. They want a pod system, they want a tank, something like that, and all these statistics that get put out there about this teen vaping epidemic, we know it's all lies. We've seen the actual research. We know that that's really less than 1% of underage. If they were finding these products all the time, they'd be putting them on the news. Look at the bucket of 60 devices that we found in our school. You have 3,000 kids in a high school. You should find more than one device. Okay, if this is really that much of an epidemic, yeah, kids are smart, and I get all of that, but not all kids are smart. That's why they're still in school, is because they still have things to learn. And a teacher has seen the same 15 and 16-year-olds come up and come up and come up. They get used to the type of employees and things that they do. They're not stupid, okay? They don't want to see vaping. I always wondered how they dealt with the phone epidemic when it came on board. I remember schools were like, no phones allowed, and no phone. I wonder what it's like now. I would not want to be a teacher now in a school trying to combat phones and social media and Snapchats and all of the live stuff that goes on with that, because I know it's got to be incredibly distracting. I don't want teenagers to vape. I don't want products to come out that are focused towards teenagers. I don't want advertising to come out that is focused towards teenagers. I get all of that. But as an adult, a 46-year-old man, I think that I love flavors. It's obvious from this body that I love candy, and I love ice cream, and I love all of those things. Why would I not want that in a product that's going to keep me from smoking? Because if I have to go back to tobacco flavored e-liquid, I'm not going to do that. I can't stand that. I just don't like the taste of it. Like, I am beyond that in my vaping experience. It's going to push me into the black market. I hate to say that, but it's really true. Some DIYers are going to make big bucks on the black market because that's just going to push all of this that direction. You got to stay informed. You guys got to know what's going on with this. I didn't want to run forever this morning. I do want to do a little bit longer than we do one of the normal Vape AM shows to give you guys an opportunity to get on the chat. I probably am going to do these for the next couple of days. So hopefully by tomorrow I'll have a little bit more production value for you guys, so it looks a little bit nicer and it's easier to watch. But I just felt like today it was super important that we did this. So please don't forget about visiting the website, vapors1.com. We'll have, we can't have links in the description because it's a YouTube thing. And like I said, just today they're saying that they're not allowing people to put things on mobile devices and actually live stream. I think this is geared toward us.
They're under 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, under 1,000 subscribers, which a lot of these smaller channels that are actually getting out news and advocacy and stuff like that are under 1,000 subscribers. And I think this is one of the things that they're doing with this. I know you guys have probably recently seen the FDA and they're joined with another, I can't remember the initials of it, but basically it's saying that they're coming after social media posts for influencers, whatever that particularly means. I'm hoping an influencer has to have at least 1,000 views. But if you're putting stuff on Instagram and you either work for a company or you're promoting a company that sells products, or you're getting, a free sample and you're distributing that out, there is an app that's super easy to use. It's called Warnizer, Warnizer. I believe it's MOV Warnizer. But if you just type in Warnizer into Google Play, what it allows you to do is just pull an image directly from your gallery or from one of your albums, and it'll allow you just to stick that warning label right on there. It is super easy to use. It basically takes you less than 30 seconds, and you can actually share directly from the app as soon as you put that on there. Let's all try and get involved with that. Let's all try not to give them any more ammunition administration to put more restrictions on us. Like I said, it's so easy to do. There's really no excuse for not doing it. Like, really, really do that. Go ahead.
Shout out to our Ohio girl, What's Up, It's Tay. She's just started doing that.
Yeah, shout out to What's Up, It's Tay. We watch her on Instagram quite a bit. We definitely follow her. She promotes a lot of products, and she's actually starting doing this as well. I actually sent a message out to Pandora Blue, and she said that she's going to start doing this as well. Let's not give them any ammunition to take this stuff away, because what I've noticed on Instagram is some of my posts are actually not my posts, but some of the things that I watch are being blocked, and I think this is just going to get more and more and more and more. And I think you're even going to see this on YouTube, where they're going to start blocking influencers if they're not putting this information out there. So nicotine is an addictive substance. We all know this. Warning, all the products that we sell at Vapers do contain nicotine. We will have this information out there for you guys. But I just want you to know what's going on legally and with your politicians, because you're not going to get this information everywhere else. You know, I would really be stretched to say I don't expect to see any news coverage about this today whatsoever. The only thing you're going to see is Instagram people like me, or I'm sorry, and YouTube people like me. They get out there and they really want to get the truth out to you. You know, I'm to the point of crossing that line into social disobedience, because it's something, this law doesn't make sense. There have been a lot of things in our past for, you know, discrimination among, you know, equal rights and all of those kinds of things, and I don't want to put us into that same bag, but I'm starting to feel that way. You know, I feel like that this is something that you're just coming down on my ability to have that pursuit of happiness. You're coming down on my ability to live my life in the way that I see fit, and you want me to go back to a poisonous product when I have something that is not poisonous, that is actually something I like to use. This all seems like a crazy dream world. Like, you know, Morpheus, please wake me up soon, because I can't take this much longer. All right, guys, if you have questions, please throw them down in the comments. I will, you know, answer any questions tomorrow. If you are out there and you're watching this because you want to find something wrong with what I'm saying, I'm sure you probably will. Okay, but put out a video anyway, because it'll just bring people to this, and maybe they'll find some truth in one of the areas. I just want them to do research. I want to be that pebble in the pond that this is water cooler talk. You know, you get to work and you're like, man, did you hear this? That they're going to be raising that? Like, no, I didn't hear anything about that. And then you share this, you know, information about Vape AM or the Vapers TV channel, and they can get informed about this. You know, popcorn lung is not a thing. You know, but I bet I'll see another story about popcorn lung before I see something on there that tells people that this is a healthier alternative. All right. Yeah, we get a lot of backlash for the things that we put out there, and I don't care. I'm going to keep putting out this truth until I can't anymore. All right. Stop smoking or you're going to die. All right. We got anything else on the chat before we get out of here?
Mark said, or Lou McCrory said, there also will be poop in Ohio streets too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
San Francisco.
yeah. It could get to that point where we just, you know, we become that state where we're accepting of things that we shouldn't be, and then we have feces in the streets like San Francisco. Okay, we don't want to follow their lead on the way to do things. And if you live in San Francisco right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
And we feel sorry for you.
We do. We feel really sorry for you. But it's gotten so bad that the Juul's actually moving out, and that should give you a pretty good indication how many jobs are going away with that, how much tax money is going away with that. And like I said, I'm not a huge proponent for Juul, but I mean, come on, guys. You know, this is something that we definitely have to get involved with and call. I want to burn up those phone lines all day. I want them to just basically say, uncle, like, okay, we get this. Well, we'll just do the tobacco 21 and we'll get rid of the taxes and whatever. It's not what I want, but I can't have this other thing. You know, $1,000 a year per store, and that's $6,000 to us that we just got to shell out. And it's just, here you go. Here's some more money to keep spreading your propaganda. No, I just will not do that. And, you know, why is this the same deal? I don't know what the amount is to have a tobacco license if you are a convenience store and you sell tobacco. I don't know that number, so, you know, don't quote me. But is it really like that? Are they really putting out that kind of money?
Is it just vape shops, or is it
I don't know.
anybody who sells? Like,
yeah, it may just be for all tobacco companies have to shell that money out. And maybe they already do. You know, that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
But they're trying to lump us in with that. We are not tobacco. I don't know how many times I have to say that, but that is the bottom line of all of this. And I think it's going to get to the point where somebody is going to have to file suit. And something that I read last night, it looks like there are quite a few of these organizations that are actually challenging Judge Grimm's decision about moving this forward quicker and all of that. They're taking this to court. And I think the only way that we're going to get this thing handled is case law. So if you're a person out there that's a lawyer that wants to really go after this, wants to get some more information about it, I would be more than happy to talk to you about that. But I think that's the only way that's going to move forward, because when we overwhelm a judge with scientific evidence after doctor after doctor after doctor after doctor, and then you've got people that have quit that are living a healthier lifestyle, and then you have these doctors saying, it's reversing the effects of COPD, and it's reversing the effects of these other things, and it's allowing people to live a lifestyle that they never would have before. COPD patients typically are the hardest to get to stop smoking. They will continue to smoke even after they've been diagnosed. I mean, I've seen people with oxygen and then smoking, and that, as dangerous as that is, that's how much they're addicted to the cigarettes. And even recent studies are showing that the nicotine actually isn't the most addictive part. They're actually saying that the other things in a cigarette is actually what causes that major addiction. Like if it was just nicotine, people were able to quit. And I can honestly see that, because with vaping, I see a lot of people that are able after a few months just to set it down, because they've weaned their body off of those other poisons that are in there, and it actually allowed them to quit. But some of these other products, I mean, I have no idea what's in the lozenges or the gums or whatever, but it could all just be another ploy just to kind of keep you addicted. Like I said, I don't have the information on that, just strictly my opinion, but it really scares me. And what's going to happen to nicotine replacement therapy if vaping goes away? It's going to skyrocket, and that's what's going to happen. Big Pharma is just going to take tons and tons of money from that, and Walmart and places like that just have it out on the shelves, on the bottom shelf. If you think that vaping leads to teens being criminals, you ain't seen nothing yet. Like, those shelves will be emptied so fast you won't even be able to see straight, because they're going to need that nicotine high. And that's the only place they can get it from. They're going to be sucking those lozenges and chewing that gum like they're going out of style. And you think it's hard or easy to hide a vape device? How easy is it going to be to hide gum or lozenges or those types of products when you go to a school? I mean, you guys will be overwhelmed with that, and you know what? You won't be able to fight that, because Big Pharma's got way too much money. Their influence is way too high, all right? Guys, I know this has ran a little bit long, and I've ranted and raved and all that kind of stuff, but we'll definitely wrap this up here in just a second. So, okay, just want to make sure Drew didn't have anything else he wanted to talk about. If you guys have, Drew, he's my EP. We really stand together on this stuff, because, we get up at the crack, to get this information out to you guys. I may spend 12 or 13 hours working today just to try and keep products in the stores so that people have this stuff available to them so they can stop smoking. So we love you guys.
I got one thing to
Go
say.
right ahead, man.
Just wanted to give a shout out to JC. All of our viewers know who that gentleman is. Thanks for reporting our lovely company, the FDA. So,
we're ready to fight, and if that's what it takes at this point, I'm ready to fight. And I think that, like I keep saying, I think case law is definitely going to be the way that this actually happens, because if we can do that, if we can get a judge to actually rule on this and say, the evidence is overwhelming that this is definitely not, as dangerous, and it's not tobacco, and we're not making e-liquid by, fresh squeezed tobacco. Okay, that's not what's going on here. We're not putting it in a press like lemons and squeezing the juice out and putting it in a bottle and you're getting it. Okay, and I think a lot of people think that. 83% of people think vaping is more dangerous than smoking. Where do you think that propaganda comes from? It ain't coming from us. It's coming from the other companies who are going to lose money because we're not buying their products anymore. All right? Stay informed, because what you don't know can literally kill you. All right? I vape, I vote. Get over to the website, get a t-shirt, get a hoodie, use that 15% off code, VAPEAM15, all together one word. I'd love to see some traffic over there today, but more important than anything, if you do nothing else today, make one phone call, send one email. Just stand with us. The more people that do this, the more apt these things are to change. All right, guys, we're going to see you again tomorrow. It'll probably be another live stream, just because that's the mood I'm in right now. I feel like Alex Jones of vaping right now, but I mean, I think it's what it's going to take. Like, I don't want to scream, but gosh darn it. I just don't feel like anybody's listening to me unless that's happening. So I love you guys. I really do. I really appreciate the comments and the support. I absolutely do. And if you guys are just joining us, this is the first video you've ever seen. This is not normal for me. Check out some of my other videos. Get informed. You'll be amazed at the information you're going to find on Vapers TV. All right, guys, have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you tomorrow.